Alrighty, today the talk is Money is God in Action. This is the last in our series on prosperity. If you come here regularly, you know that we have been doing a different one of the values. Financial health and prosperity. Now, I pulled this quote from Eric Butterworth because I think it explains prosperity pretty well from our perspective. And that is that prosperity is not just about having things. It is the consciousness. It is the way of thinking. It is the understanding that attracts the things that we want. Prosperity is a way of living and thinking. It's not just about having money or having things. And when we can establish ourselves in the consciousness of God, right, in that consciousness of knowing that abundance and that everything that we need is already here, right, the whole universe then moves to flow into us with its abundance of life and its substance. And that comes from Eric Butterworth. So I started out this series by talking about the laws of the universe, right? And the very big one that we talk about is this thing we call the law of circulation, the law of cause and effect. And last week, I talked about Thanksgiving in particular not being just a reactionary emotion. We think of Thanksgiving, that's what we teach all of our kids, to say thank you when somebody gives you something. Isn't that's like good manners, right? We all do that. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you. And then we have this whole holiday set aside to give thanks. But Thanksgiving is not just a reaction to the things that we get. It's much, much more than that. That was the kindergarten stuff that you learned about, saying please and thank you. Now we come to the understanding that Thanksgiving is actually a causative energy. In other words, it puts the ball in motion for your prosperity. Right? You can bring more good. You can grow the good that is already there coming to you by giving thanks for it, even in advance. Wayne Dyer said that it is the most powerful force there is in the universe, is to give thanks for what you are about to receive, for knowing that it is coming, and it will cause it to come to you. So that's part of that law of circulation. So last week I talked about in everything, in every circumstance, we give thanks. Now that's distinct from giving thanks for everything. That's a very different circumstance, and I shared with you, and I'll give you the update on Ken Green, a member of our congregation who, a longtime member who is now moved to another area, and it was not a particularly pleasant circumstance that happened. Ken actually had a bad fall and ended up in the ICU on the very day that we were going to be honoring him in here. So it was a situation, I was not thankful for that situation in any way, shape, or form. I wasn't thankful that he was leaving. I was not thankful that he got hurt. Not thankful that he couldn't be here, not thankful that he's moving. I mean, just, not feeling thankful for those things. However, even within a circumstance that felt somewhat negative and sad, there were still things to find to be grateful within the circumstance. Right? The fact that we had that ceremony here that morning and he didn't show up let us know something was wrong. See, if it had been any other Sunday, we might have just thought, oh, well, Ken just slept in today, or, he wasn't feeling well, maybe decided to stay home. But the fact of the matter was, he was sitting in ICU. And we may not have known that had it not been for the ceremony we had in place. And there were other things to be grateful for within that circumstance, things that I learned about myself in that situation. And the fact that Ken is now with his family being taken care of. He has been moved to a memory unit and an assisted living facility in Tampa. So we know that he's getting the care that he needs. And so I am grateful to know that. I'm grateful to know that he is being taken care of. And see, when we can be thankful in situations that feel negative, that feel like this is not what I would want to have happen, when we can find things to be grateful for within that circumstance, that is when we evolve. That is when we grow to new levels of being. And that's what we're all about here, isn't it? Right? It's our very first values, spiritual growth and practice. Anybody can be grateful when things are going well, yes? Yes. Of course, it's simple to be grateful when things are going well. It's a little more trying when things are not going so great, to find those things to be grateful for within that circumstance. But that is what will grow you as a person. That is what will expand you. That is what will allow you to be that person that you came here to be, to grow into all of that potential. It is, I think, I love speaking on gratitude because I have shown it for myself in my own life, how it can turn things around, and I have seen it for so many of you, how things will turn around almost miraculously. Right? But it's not a miracle, it's spiritual law. See, when you understand how to use it, life gets easier. Life gets easier. So that's what we talked about last week, was gratitude in difficult times being evolutionary. And so I want to expand today a little bit more on this idea of the law of circulation. And much of my talk today comes from this little booklet. It's called Money is God in Action. Has anyone heard of this? I'm thinking Estridge probably has, yes, and Gail. Yes, this was written, this little booklet, by a gentleman, I believe he was a minister, Raymond Charles Barker. Yes, Raymond Charles Barker of New York City. Had one of the biggest churches in our movement back in the, I think, 70s probably. Anyways, he wrote this book, Money is God in Action. And one of the quotes in the book is, all of life is circulation. So I just started picking things out of the air, just thinking about that. And so these aren't in any particular order, but if you think about it, think of how these things circle back around, right? Your circulatory system. Day and night. It's day and then it's night. Day and night, light and dark. There are cycles, water cycles, right? It starts out as water and it evaporates, it goes into the clouds and it comes back down as rain and it circles. Air has to circulate. What happens if air is not circulating? We're not breathing, right? We're not here. Air has to circulate. The seasons circulate, right? Your respiratory system, I mean, it goes on and on. Environmental systems. Energy has to circulate, right? We have circuits for the power to flow through the wires. Roads circulate, waves, life cycles, and finally economic systems. So if there is something happens in one of these circulatory systems, what happens to the system? It stops, it breaks down, right? There are problems with it. So we're going to specifically talk about money as part of that circulatory system, or part of that circulation. And this is what Raymond Charles Barker says, another one of his quotes, money is God's idea of circulation. Money is God's idea of circulation. Money is a vital part of the necessary circulatory system of this age. As it is a necessity for the economic health of all of us, it must be then a spiritual idea. That was kind of an aha for me to hear that, to think about it, because I had a whole lot of other ideas about money that I had from growing up. But the fact of the matter is that money must be flowing in your life in order for you to experience financial freedom and financial health. How many would you agree with that? Right? If the money is not flowing, if it is not coming to you, right, and you're not putting it out, there is something wrong. There is something that is you're out of sync in some way with the flow of life and the flow of what Spirit is wanting for you. You can't live your best life if you don't have substance, financial substance. And I know there's probably lots of you who are in a spiritual center, and that's one of those things that a lot of us have hang-ups with. We feel like money is not a spiritual thing. Like it's not a good thing to want money or to have it or to appreciate it. And this is one of the barriers that we need to overcome. You know, money is as spiritual as anything else in your life. And it needs to flow. It needs to circulate. Right? It's not meant for money to come in and accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. Right? Then it's jammed up. It's not flowing as it should. It becomes stagnant. Like water. If water doesn't circulate, you know what happens to that. It gets nasty. So we want to keep it in circulation. Money must be flowing into your life, and you must be giving it as well. So I've talked about this idea that prosperity is our divine birthright. In fact, you don't have to do anything to deserve prosperity. Now that's a little bit different message that you're going to hear from almost anywhere else. Anywhere else. But the fact of the matter is that if you are here and there is breath in you, there is life flowing through you, then you are as deserving as anyone else in the world of having prosperity. It doesn't matter what gender you are. It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are. It doesn't matter what you've done in your life or what you haven't done or how much money you came from or what you don't have now. It doesn't matter what you did or what has been done to you. None of that stuff matters. None of it matters. You are as deserving of prosperity as anyone else. Now, that doesn't mean you always feel it. It's another part of what we talked about last week. But prosperity is your divine birthright. It is your Father's great pleasure to give you the kingdom. That is the truth for every one of us. And when we understand how this works, it flows easier. So if prosperity is in fact your divine birthright, why aren't we all experiencing that? Any ideas? Yeah, lots of things. I'm going to give you three big ones. Investigate. Start thinking about the ways that you may be blocking your prosperity. And I love this analogy of the hose. You know, water flows through the hose, and you know that when you're out there and you pull a little bit and all of a sudden the water's not coming out, what's happening? There's a kink in your hose. There's a kink in the hose. The water's not flowing for some reason. You can go back and look at the hose and you'll find that little place where it's kinked, where it's stuck. And so if the prosperity is not flowing in your life in the way that you would like it to be, there's a kink in your hose somewhere. So that's what we're going to find out today. What is that kink? And over the next several days and weeks, maybe investigate this for yourself and see where you might be kinking up the flow of water in that hose or prosperity. The first way that we kink up the hose is not giving. Each and every one of us, right here, right now, and within the sound of my voice, has gifts, has unique gifts and talents that they have been given, different from everybody else. Now, if you're not giving of those gifts, then you're probably not, you're not putting that ball in motion. Now, I said something a couple of weeks ago. I used the analogy of the wood stove. I've used it a couple of times now, the wood stove. It's kind of like you're sitting in front of the stove and saying, okay, stove, when you give me some heat, I'll give you some wood. How's that? And now how does that work? It doesn't work, right? It doesn't work. Life doesn't work that way. You have to put something into it in order to get something out of it. Now here's the thing. I said that we start the ball, but we really don't. We really don't get the ball in motion because everything that we need to get through this life is already right here, right now. Every resource is already available to you. It has already been given to you. Life has been given to you. Your vision, your hearing, all of your senses, whatever it is that you have right now, you've got all the raw materials. You've got everything you need. It's already here on this planet to accomplish whatever it is that you're here to do. So that ball has already been set in motion. Right? Now, in order to keep it in motion, you need to keep giving. Right? You need to keep giving. If it is money that you're short on, well, guess what? You need to give a little something. You know, and even if you think, well, geez, I only have $10 in my pocket. What can I give? Give $1. Give $1. And I'm not saying you have to give it here.
Give the 10.
Give it, I mean, I'd be glad for you. If you want to give it here, I would love that. But I'm not saying you have to give it here. What I'm saying is that you need to keep that money in circulation. Right? If it is friendship that you're feeling a lack of, then it's time for you to step up and find a place where you be friends to somebody else. If you're feeling like there's not enough kindness in this world, how many people feel that? There's just not enough kindness, not enough deep. You know what? You be more kind. You keep that ball in motion, and you will create a ripple effect around you that you have no idea what the end. It just goes on and on and on. So whatever it is that you are wanting, whatever it is that you're feeling a lack of, keep that ball in motion by giving, whatever it is. So not giving may be blocking your prosperity. And feeling undeserving. Right? You're as deserving as you're ever going to be. You're as deserving as you ever can be. That doesn't mean that you feel that way. So you may be stopping your own flow of things wanting to come back to you by saying, no, but maybe that's not for me. You know, maybe I don't deserve that. And it's probably not a conscious thing that you're saying. Unconsciously, we say these things to ourselves. Because it's the message that we get, right, from everywhere, from all over the place, from media, from family, from jobs, from TV, I mean, from everything telling you that you're just not enough with how you are and who you are. You know, we all think that we were supposed to, you know, have however many degrees, or you're supposed to weigh a certain amount, or be a certain size, or have so much money, or have a certain house, or the right car, or whatever it is. And we've told ourselves all of these lies about our deserving and our worth. You know, so we can feel undeserving, and that can block us. Grady and I were in a grocery store a few weeks ago, and this woman, you could tell, you know, when people are in a real, like a nasty mood. She was all in a huff and slamming things around in her cart, and she comes up to the checkout line, and she looks, and I guess she was ticked off because the line was closed. So as she's pulling out, she's moving away from the line, a woman comes, another cashier, to open up the line. But this woman was so just ticked off that she got off in a huff, and she went to a line that was even longer, even though the one right in front of her had just opened up. But she couldn't see it. She couldn't see it because she was so wrapped up in her own anger and her own stuff that she couldn't see what had opened up right smack in front of her. And this is what happens to us. Right? We get so caught up in our own stuff that we don't see the gifts, the openings, the opportunities that are right smack in front of you. Right? Because we think we're not deserving, or because we're in fear, or we're in some kind of a cloud of something that has clouded our vision. Right? We're no longer, we can't see clearly anymore because of the stuff that's in the way. So we can feel undeserving.
Cindy, the blood can't get to our heads, and so we can.
Gail said it's the kink because the blood can't then get to your head. you've what is it Emerson says? Get out of the way. Get your bloated nothingness out of the way of the divine circuits. I just love that. I love that. I used to tell myself that every time I got up on stage, because I get all worked up and get all nervous, and it was like, okay, there is something that is wanting to flow here. And if I've got all this stuff, all of this worked up, all of this fear, all this panic, anxiety, whatever you want to call it, I'm not seeing it. It's not flowing anymore.
And look how thin you got when you let go.
When I let go of the bloated nothingness. Still letting it go, right? So we let go of the bloated nothingness and allow the divine circuits to flow. The other thing that could be getting in the way of your prosperity is maybe some false beliefs about money. Now, how many people can relate to that idea? Some false beliefs about money. Okay, so what are some of the beliefs that you've gotten about money over the years?
Not enough.
There's not enough. There's not enough. That's the big one.
The more you have, the happier you'll be.
What's that?
The more you have, the happier you'll be.
The more you have, the happier you'll be. Okay, yeah, that's something that people are told, right? We think more is better. We always think more is better.
Money is evil.
You need money to get what you want.
You need money to get what you want. Yes, we need money, right?
There's only one source
I was
of
told
money.
that money was evil.
How many were told that money was evil?
Yeah.
How many people are told that money was evil? You're told money that is evil by the same ones that are passing around the basket, right? It's so evil, but make sure you leave a little here because we got to keep the lights on, right?
Money doesn't grow on trees.
Money doesn't grow on trees. Yes, money doesn't grow on trees. You know, ask yourself this question. I've been playing with this now for months, for a couple of months, just paying attention to the things that I'm saying and the thoughts that are in my head. The other day we had the lawn guy come out to the house. And there's a lot of work to do at my house. So it's embarrassing that there's that much work that needs to be done at my house. So the young guy comes and he's been doing some, and I'll just be straight up honest with you. He said, wow, I was really surprised when your husband answered the door. I thought it would be like, you know, somebody in a wheelchair or something. It looked like a haunted house. It's looking better. It's looking better. But anyway, I said next, I'm making the excuse. I go, well, you always have time or money. Never have both. And as soon as I said it, I caught myself. How many times have I told myself that? I can have time or I can have money. I never seem to have both. So now my new mantra is I have time and I have money both to do the things that I want to do. Yes? We can have that. But see, it's my belief. My belief was telling me I can have time or I can have money and I can't have both.
Another one is if you spend it on yourself, you're being selfish.
Oh, if you spend money on yourself, then you're being selfish. Yes. Okay. What else? Any other ones?
Money controls our lives.
Money controls our lives. Money controls our... Wow, that's a heavy one, huh?
Money only comes from one source.
Money only comes from one source. Yeah, so if you think that money comes from one source and it's your job, then what happens when you lose the job? Right, then there goes your money. But if you really understand and you get it, that money comes from, yes, one source, but it's not your job. Right? It's not your job. Money comes from the bigger source from which everything comes, an inexhaustible source. Susan.
If you spend it now, you'll suffer later.
Oh, wow. Spend it now, suffer later. Oh, that makes it hard to have a good time with your money, doesn't it? I have another one that was, you don't pay people to do things you can do yourself. Right? So do it yourself kind of thing. And so there's all these things that are, broken in my house because I don't have time to fix it, but I'm not supposed to pay somebody else to do it. It's crazy. It's crazy, the stuff you have in your head. So now here's another question you may not have ever been asked before. What is the upside? What is the blessing that has come to you from believing some of those things? Now that's a different question, isn't it?
It was exciting when I found out it wasn't true.
It's exciting when you find out it's not true. Yes. Yeah.
It's true. 401k, retirement, from some of the comments.
Well, let me give you an example for me from the two that I just gave you, or from the one anyway, because I'm still working on the other one. The idea that you have to do everything yourself, you don't pay people to do things. The upside for me from that kind of thinking is that I know how to do a lot of stuff. I'm not afraid to try things. I'll go on YouTube and I'll find a video and I fix my garbage disposal from a YouTube video. Hello? But the freedom to know that either I can fix it or I can pay somebody else. I don't have to believe the other. Right? There were good things that came from some of the stories that I got about money. Another one that I had, I've shared this one before, was we can't have nice things. Your kids ruin everything. You don't want to spend a lot of money on stuff because your kids are going to ruin it, so we can't have nice things. So I kind of, grew up with that idea that I didn't want anything too nice or too expensive because it was going to get lost or it was going to get ruined, and there goes all the money. And so today, even today, I'm not a fan of fancy jewelry, or I'm not going to spend a couple of $100 on a pair of sunglasses, things like that. That's just not my thing. It's not my thing. Exactly. As Shanna said, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing because I'm not attached to stuff. I'd rather have an experience than have a lot of expensive stuff that I don't get to take with me. But you can have both. And here is the thing, that's the idea, is to have the freedom to have it the way you want to have it. So I can have nice things. I don't have to limit myself. And still take fun trips. I can have the experience too. So think about your thing, whatever that may be, that has felt like a negative for you. And find the gift in that. See, then you're moving forward from a place of strength and from a place of positive expectancy, not from a place of lack and limitation. Understand, it's a different mindset. So investigate for yourself. The next big question, is what's the most important thing about money? What's the most important thing to you about money? Anyone have an answer for that?
There's lots of others.
What's the most important thing? What does money do for you?
Helps you survive.
Helps you survive. Helps you survive. How many would agree with that? We need money to survive, yes?
Helps you thrive.
You need housing.
Helps you thrive. Helps you thrive. See, when you remember Maslow's pyramid, we talked about that a lot. That survival is on the bottom. That if we don't have mechanisms in place, if you don't have a roof over your head, if you don't have food, if you don't have clean air and water, you know, you're in the problem. Right? It's kind of hard to think about your self-actualization. You know, it's difficult for a kid to sit in the classroom and learn about American history and people from the 1700s when they didn't eat the night before. Right? So you want to make sure, you know, it is important for us to have those basic necessities met. So yes, money is important for our basic survival. What else?
Help other people.
I was going to say, it creates relationships you might not have otherwise had.
Yes, so money can help create relationships you might not have otherwise had. Now that's getting up higher on that scale, isn't it? Shanna said that it allows you to give back to other people. Again, we're looking back at the top of that pyramid where we have that transcendence, where you can go for not the goal, but to live a life that is bigger than you, that is bigger than you. You know, if your life becomes about other people and about causes that are important to you, and when you can tap into that, then all of those other parts of Maslow's pyramid fill in. Then you have the friends. Then you have the sense of belonging. Then you have a feeling of security, because you know what's coming to you isn't attached to any one place. See?
Money creates a great common denominator among human need.
Money creates a common denominator, again,
Among human need. Because
among human
say
need.
there is somebody out there that has the money to go and drop $100 on a pair of sunglasses.
Mm-hmm.
That $100 goes into somebody's paycheck. They use that to buy groceries for
Very
their
good. So she's talking about it allows that money to circulate. When you buy something, it goes into somebody else's pocket and it allows them to take care of their family or to do whatever it is that they came here to do, right? To use their gifts. Money is important because it allows us to use our gifts. Because if you don't have the money, then you're worried about how am I going to put a roof over my head? How do I put food on my table? Okay, say that's off the table now. You already have that handled. Now you're freed up to do a whole lot of other stuff. You know who thinks about money more probably than anybody else? Broke people. Broke people. The people who are saying money's not important, I don't really need money, they're thinking about money more than anybody else. Think about it. How many of you have been in that position, right? When you're broke, when you don't have it in your pocket, you're thinking about it. You're thinking about how you're going to get it. You're thinking about where you're going to spend it first. You know, how you can take all that little bit and spread it a whole big long way. Right? That's what happens when we don't have it. But you want to get to that place of knowing, of certainty that it's coming. Again, giving thanks in advance, knowing that it is there. And it is more likely to be there because you'll be in a more accepting space of it. Right? It's okay to like money. It's okay to love money. You know, the things that love you will come to you. It becomes an attractive force. Now again, it doesn't mean you jam it up. Right? That you just accumulate and accumulate and accumulate and never circulate it. So what's the most important thing about money? As I kept asking myself that question, and I'd come to an answer and then say, is that it? Is that definitely the most important thing? And I kept going deeper and deeper. Renee's smiling because we did this for how many hours, Renee, did we do this? Finally got to the point of saying, for me, the most important thing about money is that it allows me to do what I want when I want to do it. That's the bottom line for me. And then I read, and it was Raymond Charles Barker's thing as well. You know, to be able to do what you want when you want to do it. That's what money is for. Frees you up to use your gifts. He said this beautiful thing in here. It's my favorite thing of this whole little booklet. Now I seem to have misplaced my glasses. Maybe my husband took them. Okay. Bear with me. Does anyone have cheaters? You have a pair of cheaters here? Yeah, the reader glasses. Or a reader. Yeah, I could do that. Too late. Okay. Here we go. $1 is a miraculous thing. It is man's personal energy reduced to portable form and endowed with powers the man himself does not possess. I'm going to say that again because that's so cool to me. $1 is a miraculous thing. It is man's personal energy reduced to portable form and endowed with powers the man himself does not possess. It can go where he cannot go, speak languages he cannot speak, lift burdens he cannot touch with his fingers, save lives with which he cannot directly deal, so that a man busy all day downtown can be at the same time working in the Boys and Girls Club, hospitals, settlements, and child care centers all over the city. How about that? Did y'all ever think of money like that? Isn't that cool? I just love that. That was my favorite thing of this whole talk, was that quote there, to think about money as being your kind of emissary out into the world, to do what you would have it do. And think about that. Every time you spend $1, to be putting it into causes, into places, into things, into people that make your heart happy. Right? That, to me, that's what money is about. That's what this prosperity thing is about. It's not just about surviving. It's really about thriving. It's about thriving and transcending and being able to use and give your gifts. To me, it's all about being a person of increase. Now, that comes from a quote from a gentleman named Wallace Wattles. I think it's The Science of Getting Rich. Is that what that book is? And he talks about being a person of increase. And what that means is that wherever you go, whatever you do, leave those situations and leave those people, leave those things better than you found them. Right? Be the person who lights up the room when you walk in. And you don't have to give a lot. Sometimes it's just a smile. Sometimes it's just a kind word. But be a person of increase, so that people are better off for having been in your company. People feel better because your paths crossed. You see, be a person of increase. And when you are a person of increase, then you are you are indeed a prosperous person. And that flows out from you and it flows to others. Right? So not only are you built up yourself, but you have built up the people and the situations around you. Right? How many people can do that? How many people can make a promise to themselves to be a person of increase and leave people and situations better than they found them? That's what I hope each and every one of you do. Each and every one of us. My goal, my vision, my dream for this place is that as people from Oakbrook are out there in the community, that we've got people saying, I don't know what that is about you, but there's something different. There's something about you, and I want whatever it is that you got. Right? I want to be able to light up a room like that. I want to be able to make change. I want to make people feel good when they're around me. I want to leave people better than I found them. And that's what I want people to say about each and every one of you. There's something different about you. I don't know what it is, but I like it. And I want some of what you've got. So that is my vision, that we're all little emissaries out there, all little sparkling bright lights, that wherever you are, you touch people's lives in a beautiful way. Be people of increase. All right, so that brings us back around to our affirmation that I think makes more sense now, right? Okay, so all together, money is God in action in my life. I use it with wisdom, release it with joy, and live without fear, knowing what I give comes back to me, increased and multiplied. And so it is. I have one more thing I want to do. I want to read you a prayer. And if you're comfortable and you're okay with closing your eyes and just relax and take this in, again, another gift from Raymond Charles Barker. So just get settled in your seat, take a nice deep breath. I now subconsciously accept this prayer. There is only one creative cause. There is only one mind. There is only one life. There is only one substance. This present universe is the glory of God itself. It is a moving, flexible, fluid creation. It is alive with life, with the abundance and the richness of God. I abide in prosperity. Mind created me in order that it might act through me. Therefore, I am receptive to its abundance. I am receptive to its circulation in my life in the form of money. Money is God's idea of circulation in my world of finance, and I accept this idea completely. I appreciate this idea. Money being God in action is good, it is wholesome, it is a blessing to man, and I am now prospered with it. I have no fear of lack, for I believe that I have plenty of money. It is God's action in my world. It is God's activity in my bank account. It is God's activity in my investments, and it is God's activity in everything to which I lay my hands. The money is flowing. I do not attempt to lock it up. I don't put a fence around it because it is God's money. I simply allow it to flow. As I release it, I know that it comes back to me, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. I am now free in money. I rejoice in it. I appreciate it. I thank God for it. And I have it forevermore. And so it is.